every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
And welcome into Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I am Chad Brillante. Glad to be with you here as always as we get things kicked off. Fun week in Pensacola. If you've headed out to the fair, you've seen our ESPN Pensacola tents. We'll be out there again tonight with News Radio and their Man Cave and Cat Country 98.7. The cooler. It is cooler at the fair with some cool, pretty sweet little coolers out there that you can get. When I say little, a lot of fun gifts. Joining us now, though, it is his show, the former NFL coach and player kind enough to make time for us each and every week to talk some football, get into the X's and O's and the expertise you'll only find here. Having a chance to work with a lot of people, listening to shows even on this network. Everybody knows everything, right? That's how the world is today. And if you don't, you just go ahead and try to tell people that you're offended, and then you'll be okay, right? That's how I thought that was one of the funniest cartoons I saw this morning. Son, what is the magic word to get what you want in life? And it used to be work hard. And he says, I'm offended, Daddy? And he goes, yes, son. But that's the way the world is going. And this guy is somebody that's lived there, been there. So when you say, hey, I know who should be starting a quarterback or how to run an organization, the man sitting across from me is somebody that's actually been one of those very few, the only NFL coach from Pensacola. Coach, it's a great Thursday, and I'm happy. Finally feels like a little bit of cool football weather.
Oh, the weather's great. Yeah, it does feel like football weather. And it's good to be with everyone. A lot to talk about, a lot going on. Another big weekend coming up. And our UWF football team is just going great guns. Boy, that defense, did it ever show up last week, huh?
They did, and now they've won 5 straight. They're 5-1 on the season, and Coach Shinnick has done an incredible job. You know, that's, to me, the number one thing, and it's not just a football thing, but it's a life thing. I would say, you know, in school growing up, you got a yearbook, and you get to put, you know, the one quote. Some people have fun. Some people's like, I dated the cheerleader, and everybody smiles, and then they wear their Letterman jacket until they're 20 and then realize they have to grow up. Whatever the case is, in life, the one thing I always say, and to me it's bigger than ever in sports, is learn from your mistakes. If you make a mistake, because we all are, learn from it. Don't do it again. If you go out there and you make trouble, learn from that mistake. And some people have a hard time. That's why we have a lot of classes that people go to that they can do on their free time to get out of those mistakes. But when it comes to sports, Coach, you know, that's one of those kind of things where I think a lot of these teams out there learning from what they did wrong the first time. And I look at it right now at this game coming up here with Minnesota and Washington tonight. Now, Washington has put a lot of investments into a lot of different players. But do you think from what you've seen, and I know it's hard to judge a guy after just 1 year, but we saw it with Arizona going and getting rid of Rosen after 1 year and going with Kyler Murray. Have you seen enough, or would you be patient if you're the folks out there in Washington with Dwayne Haskins or the future of your franchise?
Sure, they better be patient, and that's a good lesson for us all. Right now, we could have so many examples of people not being patient, and the mistakes that are being made are created, if you will, by virtue of the fact that people aren't being patient. And even at this point in the year, you say, well, it's mid-season, we should have an idea. We still, you might be surprised if you saw the final standings or how the year ended up with each and every team, certainly in the National Football League. Now, college is a little more predictable than the National Football League, but this is a big game tonight, but we shouldn't jump to conclusion too quickly. I think they need to continue to bring the young kid along, and they've got to give him a chance to get in there at some point. Chad, I think this year they need to put him in, maybe not for a whole half season, but for at least 3, maybe 4 ball games. Maybe 2 or 3 would be better, because he's gonna face some bad situations and some that may harm him. I want him to have the easy way in, and the easy way I always have. I want a quarterback to have the easiest possible route to becoming a prolific offensive football player. And I don't think you do that by throwing them to the wolves. I think it's best done by bringing them along, like Green Bay did with Rodgers behind Favre, and we could name many others.
And I think sometimes, and it's not an easy thing to do. You actually, before I even knew you, Coach, ESPN NFL Films has done a couple different stories on you when you, Bill Polian, were working together in Buffalo, and you had to make a lot of decisions just to be, I'll speak on behalf of watching the ESPN, the NFL networks episode on you about making the decision that wasn't going to be easy for you, but making the best decision for Buffalo going forward. And you took a path that very rare people would take today that was the best for the team and the overall organization. I'll leave it at that. And for that, I think a lot of people understand the man that you were. And that's why when you pick up the phone and you call people, you get Hall of Famers and people because a lot of people will burn bridges to get to the top, but eventually it'll come back to bite you. And you never did it that way as a head coach, even if it might cost you in the long run compared to the organization and what Marv Levy and the opportunity for Buffalo. But when you look right now at a team like Washington, they're just one example of a lot of times coaches and players and GMs knowing that since there's such a short leash out there today, that they want everything instead of what's doing the best for the long term. And you see that in college a lot too. You'll see true freshmen get thrown out there, and they're good players, but they get sacked behind a bad offensive line, and they never recover to be the same guy, when if you gave them a year of experience to mature and get better, they could become somebody great. And I think that's just the world we live in, and you see more young quarterbacks today. There was never 20, 30 guys starting before the age of 23 in the NFL like it was back in the day. But that's what you're seeing in the NFL, and I don't think it's changing anytime soon.
Well, maybe not, but I will say this. The NFL has the greatest example of following the leader. Mm-hmm. Whatever they seem that seems to be efficient or effective in the way of a strategy, they're all going to move to it. If they took all the head coaches out of first and second grade, they would all get their head coaches out of the first and second grade. But I say that I say that in jest, but it's amazing if you look at how the pattern flows. Now, also you can look at how certain teams will set the blueprint for success for other teams. And usually it's the better head coaches, the better coaching staff, that will come up with a blueprint that others will follow. But they'll follow it. They'll all get right in the same track and follow it. I can remember at a time we were the second team in the National Football League to commit and went to a shotgun. And I can remember coaches saying, "Oh, that'll never be the case. You're never going to have people back in the shotgun all the time." Now they're in the shotgun all the time.
Not only that, I've actually seen some teams more comfortable in the shotgun, which is rare. But there are teams now that take knees in college and the NFL from the shotgun.
I've seen it. That's ridiculous.
It is very ridiculous. I agree. You're taking way too much risk when the game is over. Yeah. I'm completely in agreement with you. But that's how comfortable people are with the shotgun, that there are quarterbacks that now take a knee. By the way, games are – people at home want to root until the final minute, but games are over. The Jets versus Pats, I mean, they were getting booed. The Jets just get booed in general, but they were getting booed. They were down 33-0, and they sent out their punting unit on 4th and 15 at their 20. They weren't going to win the game. It was, at that point, not a big deal. But Tennessee this week against the Alabama Crimson Tide, they're down by 35-13. There was a 14-point swing on that fumble in the end zone. However, their quarterback at the end of the game gets into victory formation to lose the game a couple times. Is that, I mean, it's not big on the overall surface, but would you ever go into victory formation in a loss? I mean, to me, they got everybody together and they took 2 knees to hand over the football. Really irrelevant because the game was over anyway, or is that showing your fans that you sort of conceded?
No, never's a long time, but I can say now I would never get into that formation.
Would at least run the football a couple times.
Sure, or if you did nothing else, run a quarterback sneak.
Just something.
Anything. But seriously, you should hand the football off and at least try to break something. I just don't see it.
It's the epitome of Tennessee football right now. That's to me. It's like Steve Irwin. God bless him. He gave a lot of people fun videos that they've never seen, but he got and ultimately he got killed by a stingray that went through him. But he jumps on the back of crocodiles and snakes all day long. You're probably eventually going to have one of those moments. And for Tennessee, when you are playing so bad and your team is getting kicked off the field and players are leaving you and you're getting guys arrested and the turmoil that's going on for the Volunteers, it just, to me, it makes sense if any team was going to do it, a team that has all this prestige and accolades and is taking a knee to lose the game to pretty much end it. There could be a better team.
You're right.
It seems.
It's not a very good deal optically or practically either. Any way you want to cut it.
Coach, looking right now, one of the big conversations, Oklahoma and Alabama, they have both played well. I think if we're talking LSU, the matchups going on here, but Bill Hancock was asked yesterday on ESPN, and he's the executive director now for the College Football Playoff. And Bill's a very nice guy. He's gotten a lot of grief because when they had the BCS, they wanted 4 teams. And when they got 4 teams, everybody's raving about 8. You and I have talked. I'd like to see 8, but it doesn't look like it's happening today, and they've got a contract in place. Well, Oklahoma and Alabama have a shot. If Alabama gets Tua back, they beat LSU, there's a good chance that they're the number 1 seed. If they win out, Alabama's the number 1 seed. That's clear. They're number 1 now, and they're not losing it. But if Oklahoma was sitting there at 3, let's say they were ahead of Clemson based on the polls, if you were part of the committee, and it doesn't change the fact because if you're undefeated, nobody's going to argue it. But internally, if you felt like Oklahoma was number 3 and let's say a team like Clemson was number 4 and let's say Ohio State was 2, would you put Oklahoma number 4 so you could get that Jalen Hurts versus Alabama matchup in the first week?
I don't think that needs to be even a part of the conversation. If it is, then something's wrong with this whole committee, the whole process. It should be thrown out. That should never even be even brought up, thought about even. No, absolutely not.
As a fan, you'd like to see that game, though, right?
As a fan, no, not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. If they get there legitimately, fine. But no, I'm not. That's not one of the things I'd like to necessarily like to see.
Okay.
But no, I don't. I just don't see that. If that became part of the criterion for putting this together, then we've got a faulty process.
Well, first off, at this point, I agree with what you're saying, but I would not put it past anybody from ratings standpoint because having that game might make them an extra, $10 to $20 million in ratings. Now, if it came down to they were moving a team out or bouncing an obvious choice, but I think we all can argue right now, Coach, if we had the conversation today, you and I, and we said we take Alabama, we take LSU, we take Oklahoma, we take Ohio State, and we take Clemson. You can make arguments for all 5 of why they're the best team. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes.
So to interchange, what I'm saying is if they put Oklahoma that maybe a couple people thought they'd be 3 and Clemson would be 4, flopping them out if they're both undefeated just to get better ratings, I wouldn't put it past the TV people to do that, even though I understand where you're going with it. That should not come up.
I think if TV people have that much influence, again, we've got a faulty process. I'm serious. Should not be the case. That TV has that much influence. Now, quite frankly, of the teams that you mentioned just then, the one that would be either least likely to make the playoffs or would be number 4 would be Oklahoma. And the reason why is
their conference
and their defense. They have a terrible defense. I don't think they can stand in there with the Alabama, LSU's, Ohio State's. I just don't think they can do it. And people know that. Their defense would keep them from being in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, even the game that they almost beat Georgia a couple years back, they had to do it. If they won the game, it was going to be 48-41. Georgia scored on the final drive with Fromm, and then they went to overtime and won 55-48. But even if they won that, it wasn't going to be the defense. It was Baker Mayfield was going out there and shooting it out with the best of them.
Yeah.
So they've been there. I think this is, to me, how college football is working out. We live in the South. You played in the SEC, or was it the SEC at that time? Correct? Okay,
yeah,
just want to make sure.
Gosh,
But I just don't know. I said a couple days ago, some guy berated me on something I was actually right on. I said TCU was one of the best teams. The 3 teams I said that just deserved a shot that weren't in Power 5 conferences. The only teams I've ever seen in my lifetime that deserved a chance to fight for the playoff, not to say they're the best, were TCU with Andy Dalton, was Boise State with Kellen Moore when they won 33 straight games, and was UCF a couple years ago. Now, I didn't say any of them were the best, but at least they earned the right to get a shot to get their you-know-what kicked in.
Yeah.
And somebody called in and goes, "You idiot, TCU's in the Big 12." And I didn't even respond, knowing that they were in the Mountain West at the time and jumped. So I always want to make sure that, there was the Big 8 at one point. Heck, for that matter, you got a Big 12 with 10 teams, and you got a Big 10 with 14 teams. So none of the numbers are right.
They don't match. Yeah.
None of that, man. So let's take a look here at when we come back, we'll try to get Brian Ahatz of the Pensacola News Journal on to talk some local high school football as well. And talking to Coach Shinnick today as well.
We're going to try to get him at about 12:35.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're on a 5-game winning streak. So we'll get to more on that tonight. SMU in action against Houston. Nothing like Houston paying a guy in Dana Holgerson about $5 million per year, and they're 3-4, while SMU was under, quote, a rebuilding period with Sonny Dykes, and they're 7-0 and ranked number 16. Coach, we talked to Gene Stallings.
Good ball game. Yeah.
We talked to Gene Stallings yesterday, who lives right in the SMU area and knows a lot of the alumni. And Coach said that it's funny because he reads the Dallas Register every day, and he said in the Dallas newspaper, right now, the 2 best teams, with all the hype of Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher, with all the hype of Tom Herman in Texas after beating Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, the 1 and 2 best teams ranked by the state are Baylor and SMU right now.
Not surprising. I'll say Baylor is going to surprise some people. Listen, they can make some things happen. They're doing a good job there.
And they're undefeated. Both SMU and Baylor undefeated right now in the season. Matt Rule and Sonny Dykes doing a great job. When we come back, we'll try to talk some high school football with Brian Ahatz. We'll get to more on what's going on in college and the NFL. Big week ahead. The New England Patriots, Baker Mayfield. He wants somebody to add to the offense. Last time I checked, I feel like we're in a reverse world where Tom Brady is picking up 2 guys who are undrafted free agents and throwing touchdown passes to them at 7-0. But Baker Mayfield has Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, David Njoku, and other highly ranked guys, and they're out shopping for more weapons. Coach, it's funny how the media will take a story.
I was just hearing this morning about comparing who are the best quarterbacks, MVPs, and not one time was Brady mentioned. And I am telling you, sitting right here, that if I had my choice of one quarterback right now to go play, it would be Brady, without any question.
It's insane. And honestly, nothing like having 2 receivers that broke records and guys that are getting paid more than anybody. But Cleveland's shopping for playmakers, right? Well, Tom Brady's okay with Gunnar Olszewski. So there you go, folks. When we come back, we'll talk some more high school football. We'll get into more tonight. Milton and Pace will be in action. A big rivalry game for the folks out there on 1330 AM. Had a chance to speak with a great Pace Rotary Club the other day and over at the Stonebrook, and it was a great opportunity, and we're excited now to be Milton Pace's station on 1330 AM WEBY, and excited. So if you're out there listening, maybe 99.1, you can only get so far. Flip over on 1330 AM 99.1 FM. You can carry 1330 all the way across everywhere, except that area where your cell phone doesn't even work at Blackwater. up there. I found that out the wrong way when I was trying to get directions and was lost for 2 hours. We're coming back for more. It's Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Don't you hate scrambling on the road when you're looking for a place to spend the night?
We all do. That's why when you travel for work, stay at La Quinta by Wyndham.
They've got everything you need to tackle the job, from free high-speed Wi-Fi to a spacious workspace right in your room.
Plus, their Bright Side breakfast comes with waffles, eggs, fruit, and meat.
Now, that's a game changer.
They've got over 900 locations so you can cover the gridiron.
And best of all, they're part of Wyndham Rewards, so those extra points really add up.
Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow, you triumph. Book direct at lq.com.
It's happening. Wherever plays are being made, tickets are being sold, and fans are lining up. ADP is designing a better way to work. With industry-leading HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll, more companies rely on ADP than any other HR partner to help step up their game. From small business to global enterprise. See how ADP can help you and your people achieve what you're working for at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh, my gosh. That's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-headed old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station, your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Talk football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante, Coach K Stevenson, former NFL coach, joining us. And each and every Thursday, we have a chance to sit down with Brian Ahatz of the Pensacola News-Journal, doing a great job covering high school football in the area. To beat Brian is something that is just the name of the game, but nobody actually does it. And he joins us now live to talk about it each and every week. Brian, how's everything rolling?
Hey, not too shabby, man. Not too shabby. I appreciate that that intro, man. It's quite kind. And I mean, you know, I'd love to say that I've never been beaten, but while it might be rare, you know, there are a couple of folks out there that get me, man. But But life's always going good, man. Things are good.
Well, see, here's the secret, Brian. I do a show, and then I also archive another show right after it on Fridays when I make my picks for college football. And what I do is I take both teams in two different shows, and then whatever one's the best, I show on Monday, and I've never lost a game. So I'm pretty good at my picks so far. That
What is that like? So you're middling or something, you know?
Don't say it. Nobody except for everybody listening right now knows, so don't tell anybody. But let's get to
a real Vegas shark.
That's what I have many aliases, but don't tell my wife either. But looking at the games going on right now in high school football, I heard today, because of some of the weather, because of some of the games before, is Milton Pace being moved up today? Is that going to be tonight?
Yep, that's correct. I got word of that about first thing this morning, really, about 4 hours ago. So right when school was getting going, I think they kind of made that decision. Pace will host Milton for the classic rivalry battle for the bronze helmet. That'll be 7:30 tonight, and I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if I wouldn't be shocked if we see some other schools do this. It is getting a little bit later in the day now, but also I wouldn't be surprised if we got every sits tight for tomorrow night too. So it'll be interesting, but it's funny because these last 2 weeks have been – how about this? Okay, so Milton played last Thursday at Mosley. That was an originally scheduled game. All the local games were postponed Friday night. Tate and Washington play Saturday in a rescheduled game. Of course, Sunday's off. Monday night, teams go back out and play makeup games. Pine Forest and Escambia get postponed again while they're playing two different Okaloosa County teams, and Pine Forest ends up playing Tuesday night. So then, now we're playing again Thursday night. So, there's been about 2 days without a high school football game since last Thursday. Wild.
And not only that, too, this is something where, as you know, in this high school area, and in Pensacola in general, we've got about 5 or 6 of us covering across the board. You guys do an awesome job. You and Eric really have picked up a lot, I know, with Bill over at the Wahoos and what you guys are doing down there. But I'm telling you, we only have so many hats to be worn in this city, and there are so many teams to cover. So what you guys are doing, keeping everybody informed, I get to talk a lot of college, a lot of NFL on the show, and national news. But you guys, what you bring to the high school level, I really respect the heck out of it, because, frankly, how I find out about my high school news is picking up the newspaper and seeing articles like Coach K brought in today about Pine Forest being champions in the win over Choctaw, like from you, that you wrote the article. So those are the kind of things. So appreciate what you guys do.
Hey, no problem, man. If you want to, it's a weird era now where the print deadline's 7 p.m. So that Pine Forest won that game over Choctaw. That was Tuesday night, and so it doesn't get in the paper till Thursday, with it being after that deadline. So you can always hop on pnj.com/sports too to get stuff like that even sooner, and I do appreciate that feedback, man. It means a lot.
I know it more than anybody because, Brian, it was about 4 years ago at the old ESPN station, and when Tommy and I did the games for WFGX and WEAR, and we were driving to Baker, good old Baker, that's obviously just a touchdown pass away from here, and we're heading out to Baker to call the Baker Gator game, and I got the news. I always pre-recorded the sports drive for 2 hours, but I did it that day, so and it was all relevant news. Well, I get the news about 20 minutes before the show's about to launch, and I'm already at Baker, that the news comes out that Drew Brees is not playing against Carolina and with the shoulder injury. Now, my whole show was pretty much based, since we were Saints coverage, about how Drew Brees and Cam Newton, the showdown, he was the MVP. And I'm calling down there, and nobody's picking up the phone. It's just going to voicemail, and I'm saying, pull the show, because the whole show was about how Drew Brees was going to put up this incredible performance, and he wasn't even playing. So probably 90% of the people driving in their cars that day was like, this idiot, he does his job and he doesn't know who's starting. So I know more than ever about deadlines and having to get stuff in there. And I paid the ultimate price for it. with my voice. But when you talk about the games, but if anyone asks, we're always live, right? Wink. Just gonna say, we're always live. Yeah, this is a great Tuesday show, by the way. No, Brian, looking at the matchups though coming up here this week, what are some of the key games? Because right now we're getting into crunch time with district wins and trying to lock in those championships. We're down to the final weeks here. Right before Thanksgiving comes up is when the games are pretty much officially over, except those teams going to the playoffs and postseason. But what are some of the teams right now to really keep an eye on? I know Washington, Catholic, there's a few teams really having great seasons, but talk about some of the teams that you should keep an eye on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. It is crunch time. We got actually 2 weeks of the regular season left, 2 Fridays. It's pretty crazy. But you mentioned Washington. They will travel to play Escambia tomorrow night and at 7 o'clock at the Swan. And the winner of that one will be the district champion of 1-6A, which guarantees you a top 4 seed in the playoffs and at least one home playoff game. So that's a very huge game. Both those teams are undefeated right now, so that definitely a lot right on that one. And the way the bracket, the playoff projections kind of look right now, it's basically the winner of that game, like I said, will be at home in the playoffs in the first round. If the loser, by default, that the best they can be will be a 5 seed as a district runner-up, which means based off the projections right now, whoever loses that game will be making about a 400-mile trip to Daytona mainland. So a lot more than just bragging rights to the district on the line in that one. Definitely setting the winning team will set itself up much better for the playoffs, and it's the contrary is not your average first-round drive, that's for sure. Also, a big one this week, Navarre is fighting for a playoff spot. They were the FHSAA has released playoff projections the last 3 weeks. Navarre was number 8, the last team in the first week, and they've been number 9 the last 2 weeks. They will play Crestview this week, which I believe is a number 5 or 6 seed. So Navarre has been really up and down. If they can beat Crestview, obviously that will really help their odds of making the playoffs. Milton is a number 8 seed in 1-6A there with Escambia and Washington. And so Milton can handle business against Pace tonight, and they got a tough one against Catholic next week. They're fighting for that last playoff spot in that region too, and that kind of segues me into Catholic, 8-0, the number 1 team in Region 1-3A. They got a very experienced defense, some very exciting running backs, and the crazy thing about Class 3A, well, all classes 1A through 4A this year, the state championship game is in Tallahassee. So I'm not trying to count the eggs before they hatch, but Catholic would be very, very, it would feel very close to home by terms of the state championship game if they were able to make it to Tallahassee. The higher classifications will play in Daytona Beach for the state championship. That stuff kind of moved around this last year. And last but not least, I think Northview is a really solid team in Class 1A. And I shouldn't say last but not least because Pine Forest is another team that's really, really strong. They clinched, of course, the district in 1-5A. So they're looking at a 3 or 4 seed probably in that region. So as of right now, you've got 7 teams that are in the playoffs if they started today.
Brian, over the last 7 years, I've had a chance to call high school football on TV. This is the first year not down here at ESPN Pensacola. We have a lot of things going on. We're at the fair this week and hosting a number of different shows and excited for it. It's football season, so I love my job. But when it comes down to I haven't been able to pay as much attention. I read the newspaper, but I'm not living it every Friday being there. How are the teams – because I don't like to judge myself, and Coach feels the same way in a lot. Until you see the product yourself, I don't like to read everything and then make my own assessment. I have not got to see as many of these teams, but I know their record's great. Are these the type of teams, in your opinion, though, that not only can win around here and maybe even at the regional area, but they could get to the state and do something? Because I know we've had teams like what West Florida did a couple years ago when they took on Baker County, or what we've seen Catholic do in the last few years, Navarre. But are these teams capable, the teams that are unbeaten and some of these top teams, of winning it all this year, in your opinion?
winning it all, man, that's tough to. I would say there's a couple that are capable. By definition of the word capable. Of course, it's very tough. As you know, once you get past the state semifinals, it's a lot of times in recent history. We're in this Pensacola area is in Region 1. Then you get over to Jacksonville, past Tallahassee, that's more Region 2. And then Region 3 and 4, of course, are, more southern or central Florida. A lot of times it seems like the state semifinal game between Region 3 and 4 is essentially like a state championship game, if you will. If you get what I'm saying, that seems to be a more high-profile matchup a lot of times. Now, I think looking at what I've seen, I think Escambia can most certainly make it to the Final Four. I think Catholic is in the same boat where they can definitely make it to the Final Four. Pine Forest has lost to two really good state-ranked teams that are bigger schools than them, Escambia and Columbia, one classification up from Pine Forest. So I think Pine Forest is that if there's any team that's kind of been building each week and gaining a bit more momentum, if they kind of stay on that same kind of consistency of getting sharper and sharper each week like they looked last week. I mean, that's a team that you think, they could be a regional final, could win that one, get to the Final Four. And definitely, I think I'd say Catholic. Being in nothing against Class 3A, but, smaller classifications a little bit different. If you are the top 6 seeds in each region make the playoffs from 1A through 4A. The top 2 seeds have a bye. So if Catholic stays at the number 1 seed in this region, they win two playoff games, they're in the Final Four. So just going back to your Vegas sharp guy stuff. I mean, Catholics technically, I guess, has the best chance as of right now, and would be the most likely. But Escambia is playing really good football, and the cool thing for Class 6A is that Armwood is no longer in 6A; they are in 7 now. So for so many years, there were some great Tate teams about 5-6 years ago. And, you mentioned Tate, you mentioned Navarre making a run to the Final Four. For so many years, it seemed like the road just stopped in Armwood or kind of one of those Lakeland, kind of around that area. So it's a little bit different feel, and Escambia has been ranked in the top 5 of Class 6A statewide really all year. So I like that. And this is going to be Washington's first tough test playing Escambia. It's a really tough test. They beat Milton very well. Milton is a 5-3 team, and they were, I want to say, 3-2 at the time Washington beat Milton. They were 3-2, and that's been Washington's toughest test yet. And of course, Milton is currently a playoff team, but this is going to be that game where you were just kind of saying at the beginning when you asked me this, you got to see this stuff with your eyes. And I think if Washington puts on a show, and obviously they beat Escambia, I mean, hey, there's no reason not to say they're not one of those teams too that can make a run, because they are actually second by RPI in this region. You can't have 2 teams from the same district in the top 4. So, but if you could, it'd be Escambia 1, Washington 2 in this region by the FHSAA's projections.
He's Brian Ahatz of the Pensacola News Journal, doing a great job covering high school sports. You can go on there to try to beat Brian, PNJ.com. Sign up. You can also email him at bahatz, BACHATZ at PNJ.com. And, Brian, we appreciate your time. We got Coach Pete Shinnick coming up here for UWF. So if he's late, I'm just going to give him your email. And talking to Coach, I'm throwing you under the bus, man. So we got to get going. I'm just playing with you. Hey,
whoa.
You're like, I'm never coming on the show again. No. Brian,
hey, man, I'm a Argo alumni, so that's good stuff.
That's awesome stuff. And if I don't see you, like we said, if I don't see you as Gardner Minshew for Halloween, I'm going to be disappointed. All right. So.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
All right. Appreciate it, Brian. Good luck to your Jags if they meet the Pats in the playoffs. So, and I truly mean that.
Hey, Miles Jack wasn't down in 2017 in the AFC Championship.
No, I saw the flag. Yeah, but no. All right. Well, Brian, hey, appreciate it, buddy, and we'll do it again soon.
All right, thanks, man.
Thanks. Brian Ahats, clearly, as you can tell, a Jacksonville Jaguar fan right there. They outplayed New England that year. Coach, we're going to get to Coach Pete Shinnick, but, yeah, that moment, they actually look, I watch every play of every Pats game. Jags had a shot to win that 2 years ago. Not now, not today against the Pats, but they could have won that game if it wasn't for a bad second half. And,
they did. They honestly did, and I certainly give them that. And
give them that, yeah. It was, as many teams have said against New England throughout the years, we played them tough. It just didn't work out well.
Yep.
There you go. When we come back, if Brian's still on the line, he's like, I'm definitely done. When we come back, we're going to talk a little UWF football. We'll get to the big games. And tonight, you can also catch us as we'll be making some picks and predictions as well, and talk with Coach K here on some of the big games coming up. It's all coming up right here. It's Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
How good are PXG clubs? Golf writers describe them as absolutely remarkable and the best golf clubs out there. Our customers call them insanely good and say they live up to the hype. So what are you waiting for? Step up your game and enjoy golf more than ever. Call 844-PLAY-PXG, 844-PLAY-PXG, or visit pxg.com to book your custom fitting. PXG. Nobody makes golf clubs the way we do. Period.
This human resources professional is a rock star thanks to Kronos. And this is her hype song.
I'm the spark before the fire. I'm the power in the train. I
have HR, payroll, talent, and time.
I'm the dream and you should know that.
Now we're engaging all the best people.
Kronos, HR solutions for the modern workforce and the people who support them. Learn more at kronos.com/HR swagger.
Friday nights in the fall are a magical time. It's Friday Night Lights, where new stars are born, where agony meets victory. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM and sister station News Radio 92.3 AM 1620 brings you all play-by-play coverage during the week's best matchup. We are football. We are Friday Night Lights.
This Friday night at 7, the Washington Wildcats take on the Escambia Gators. Hear it right here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. It's Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola. Joining us now, after talking some high school football with Brian Ahats of the Pensacola News-Journal, the head coach of the UWF Argonauts, was the coach of the year in Division II football, only coach in the history of college football to lead his team after building a program in 2 years from scratch. He did it at UNC Pembroke and now doing it at UWF, leading them to a national title game against Texas A&M Commerce, and kind enough to make time for us each and every week, Coach Pete Shinnick. Coach, it's always a pleasure to catch up.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Hey, we know how time is, Coach, and it is really a privilege that you take the time to come on with us. Listen, you just continue to come up with first. I'll tell you, it's amazing what your defense did. Big win, huge win for you last week. Terrible weather conditions. Complete 2 passes and just destroy a team. That'll be one on your in your book when you write your book, buddy. And
yeah, it was as Coach. It was as muddy and horrible weather as I've ever been a part of, and part of our philosophy is we're going to do what we do until we can't do it, and I believe we started the game, Coach, 0 for 12 passing with like 5 or 6 drops. And it was like, okay, well, maybe this isn't the time to do it. Yeah. But then I think we went 1 for 13 in the first half, with the one completion being a touchdown to Kevin Grant, who just went up and made a fantastic catch in the end zone. So as that was happening, we went into the second half and just said, okay, we'll throw when we need to, and we went 1 for 2 in the second half, but really just tried to find a way to control the run game, and got our quarterback run game going, and was really able to do some really good things to hold on to the ball and control the clock and really put the game away. As you know, Coach, you've been in those. We got up 28-2 with 10 minutes to go in the third quarter, and it was like, okay, we just need to hold on to the ball because they're not going anywhere, and we can just take this clock out of the game, and before you know it, there's 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and we're gonna win the game.
Oh, sure. Listen, I know exactly what you mean, and I've been through it. Been through exactly the same thing, Coach. We're just stopped at halftime and say we're not going to do that anymore. We're going totally a different direction. Your defense is just, coming along. Has to be above and beyond yours or anybody else's expectation.
They've just been really fantastic, and I knew we could be good and felt like we were built for the second half of the season, the teams that we were playing. And, we've had to – I don't know, and I don't know the history of the Gulf South Conference, but I don't know that anybody's ever gone back-to-back against West Georgia and Delta and held both those guys to only 5 points. That's a heck of an accomplishment anywhere, anytime. And extremely proud of what our defense is doing. We've got a lot of guys playing at a high level, flying around, and making the most of their opportunity while they're on the field.
Well, yeah, it's amazing that the whole season. I mean, what you've done defensively throughout the season, you've held half your opponents to no points. So
correct.
Those kids are really playing well for you. We talked about your defense early in the year, I think, and you felt good about that defense even then, and that's certainly come to fruition. What does it look like for you this week, Coach? Florida Tech, another road trip.
Yeah, another road trip, long road trip, our longest road trip of the year, and they're a team that really puts pressure on you and is going to challenge our defense. Coach, I think they have 7 or 6 wide receivers that have plays of 40 plus or more. So you got 6 different guys with big play capability. We got to know where everybody is. We got to know what they're trying to accomplish. how they're trying to do it because they've got some weapons on offense. And then defensively, they're really just a attack from all areas type team. And so we've got to be on point with our assignments. We've got to be dialed in with how we're approaching this and what we're trying to accomplish, because they will get after us and look for any weakness that we might have to be able to exploit it. With that being said, I really like how our team's playing, and we knew we were going to have to go on the road. We hoped that we would be, in this position, undefeated in conference, and trying to go down there and get a conference win at a very tough place to do it.
Well, it's great to be sitting there at this point in the season undefeated in your conference, that's for sure. You were talking about having to abandon certain plans, and it is so true. I remember a game very well that we played that, gosh, during the week, our coaches, everybody was really coaching well. We were all out coaching each other. We're going to run the football. Oh, yeah. We're going to just run it all day and run them out of the ballpark over there. They're not going to be able to stop us. And just don't give up on the run and whatever. Well, we go in at halftime, and we haven't gained the length of the bench running the football, and no points or anything else. So we're going to halftime. And I said, let me tell you, we're not calling another run. We're not going to run the ball one time the second half. We're going to throw it every time unless it is a very unique situation, maybe third and inches or fourth and inches that we're going for it. And we did, and we came back and won the football game. And there was a bad day that day too, but it just goes to show you, that sometimes best laid plans certainly go astray, and you have to make those changes.
Well, we had to find a way. Again, as you mentioned, our defense is playing very well. Our defense is playing great. Wanted to make sure that we were not putting them in difficult situations. And what happened is they ended up throwing the ball twice as much as us, ended turning the ball over 6 times. Half of those were on passes. There was 1 interception, but two scrambles that we were able to force fumbles on, and really became the difference in the game. And I got a group of guys that are really unselfish. Our wide receivers were just thrilled to death with a victory, even though there were only 2 completions. And so they've really embraced, put the team first, and, to be able to do that and to have a defense play the way they're playing, as you mentioned, just helps you out a ton, no doubt.
Well, that's for sure. And you guys do such a great job with them and make the adjustments necessary to win. The game plan going in and then being able to adjust, that's a tribute to your coaching. Listen, let me ask you this. Just what are your long travel this weekend? I know what are your plans for your travel plans and so on for this weekend?
Yeah, this one's a tough one because it just takes so long to get over there, and we're actually gonna and we got a 1:00 kickoff. So the last time we went over there, it was a 7:00 kickoff. So you kind of do things a little differently. But we're going to get up early, and we're going to practice here. We're going to get on the road about 8:00, 8:15 tomorrow, and head to Tallahassee, eat some lunch, then head down to Daytona, that area, get out, loosen the guys up a little bit, grab a dinner, and then get to the hotel for some night meetings. And so, you always want to try to break this ride up. You don't ever want to be on the bus longer than 3 hours. So, we're always trying to look how to break it up and what to get done. And, this one will be a challenge because, as you say, it is a long one.
Well, listen, we're aware of that. We know that you've planned accordingly. I ask you these plans, just another insight into the organization that you've put together out there, and thoughtfulness and responsibility that you've taken on. Listen, we wish you the very, very best this weekend. Have a great one, and be super to be undefeated in the conference after this weekend.
No, we look forward to it. That's the goal. We're doing everything we can to get after it. And, Coach, appreciate you having me on. Chad, thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it right there. Coach Pete Shinnick, kind enough to make time for us. And, Coach, one of the best right there as he's won now 5 straight games, and he's going back to play at a school right there in Melbourne that I'm very familiar with. Right across the street is where I went to high school. And Florida Tech had a lot of fun camps during the day there, and I do hold one record at the school across the street, most interceptions in a game. I do actually have that. I don't think they put a banner. They didn't get a banner or anything. There's no celebration. It was more I lost my job after 3 weeks, but I did 5 interceptions in one game. I think that record still stands. I'd hope it still stands because I root on my high school, and I don't want anyone to break that record. That's one record I hope I always keep because I don't wish ill will towards anybody. Palm Bay, Florida's a good football team, and we shouldn't have played them that day. But when we come back, we'll talk a little more about what's going on here in college NFL football and put a bow on this edition. It's Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Dude, it's game day, and I'm fired up that football is back.
I know, but I'm bummed they don't show my favorite team on TV around here.
All right, well, what about that place Calvert's? They're a really cool English pub-style restaurant, and they have a really good drink menu.
Yeah, but what about the game?
Don't worry, they have the NFL Sunday ticket and plenty of TVs, so we can watch any game that we want.
Ooh, I just looked at the menu, and that Abbey Road burger is calling my name.
Calvert's in the Heights Restaurant and Bar, 3102 East Urbana Street, calvertsintheheights.com.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Do you have frequent heartburn? Like the kind where you have antacid stashed everywhere in case it pops up? You know what I mean. You keep some in your bag or your desk or your car or your nightstand. You have those chalky tablets ready for whenever and wherever heartburn strikes. Well, listen up. There's an easier way to deal with your heartburn. Prilosec OTC. Just 1 pill a day will last a full 24 hours with zero heartburn. Kick your antacid habit. It's possible with Prilosec OTC.
Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
At AutoZone, we're all about giving you more ways to get the most out of your ride, no matter the road. With our AutoZone Rewards program, members get a $20 reward every time they spend $20 or more 5 times, which means you'll have more to spend on great deals just like this one. Get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $33.99. See terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 is all about high school football. Catch the biggest local games every Friday night on Pensacola's home for local sports and our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Final segment Talk football with Coach K. Only got a few minutes here, so as we get set to go for just a few minutes left in today's program, alongside Coach K. Stevenson, former NFL coach. Thanks again to UWF head coach Pete Shinnick and Brian Ahats of the Pensacola News-Journal breaking down some high school football. Tonight, coming up on the Sports Drive, Coach K and I will sit down to break down some of the big games coming up and also to talk more about what's going on in the NFL with some of the big moves going on. Coach, at this point in the season, though, you have some big matchups, and we'll get to more of them because we only have about 30 seconds. But at this point as a head coach in the NFL, is there anything, if your team is sitting there at 3-3 or anything like that, that you feel you can change at this point as a head coach, change the outcome of a season going forward? Is that up to the team in the locker room?
No, you have to think there's always something you can do to give them a better chance. And you approach it that way as a staff, you have to. And then you hope that the players will have some leadership in the locker room, and you'll have the combination of both.
Well, Coach, looking forward to it. We're going to talk to Coach K. Stevenson coming up here tonight. Coach, thanks again for a great show.
Oh, good to be with you.
All right. For Coach K. Stevenson, I'm Chad Brillante. Have a great rest of your night or afternoon since it's 12:59. And as always, God bless.
Football on Saturdays and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
From coast to coast, the Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show. Here with you over the national airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 250-plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM/FM listing nearest you, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Commercial insurance through Progressive protects your business and your dream. Choose from over 30 coverage options at progressivecommercial.com. On the line with us right now, NFL analyst extraordinaire for the family, former Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. For some inexplicable reason, probably home, nostalgia, and all of that stuff, he actually played for the New York Jets. But he's with us now. The one and only Damian Woody is on the line with us right now. What's up, big boy? How are you?
You know, I'm in a very bad mood.
Why is that?
Okay, I'm in a very bad mood because here it is. You're out in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
With the sunshine, beautiful weather, beach and everything.
Right.
You didn't even holler at your boy.
Excuse me.
I thought I was your partner and everything, your boy.
First of all, a couple of things.
I mean, what's going on with that?
Number one, maybe if you wore a tie more, you would have been invited out here. Maybe if you wore a tie more, it does have something to do. It does have something to do with it. You need to be more respectful of your elders and conduct yourself like the protege that you are.
When you're talking to me.
Excuse me? Did you raise your voice at me? Did you raise your voice at me? You gotta watch your mouth. You gotta watch your mouth. Don't make me deal with you, Damian Woody.
Please.
You understand? I know you won't. That's what I'm telling you. And number 2, you got NFL responsibilities. It's not my fault that the Rams or the Chargers haven't given you much to talk about thus far this year. That ain't my problem. Maybe you should be calling them. If they gave you more to talk about, maybe you'd be out here and you wouldn't need to be having me call you to come out here for basketball where that ain't your lane.
Oh, but listen, basketball is always it don't matter what it is, okay? Especially when we're talking about my Lakers. That's always my lane.
Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. You done started something now, Damian. You done started something. I'm going to test your basketball knowledge. First things first. How'd you feel about how LeBron James performed Tuesday night? Since you love the basketball and that's your Lakers, it's your Lakers. How'd you feel about how LeBron performed Tuesday night? You opened it. You did it.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. Okay? I'm not gonna fake it. I'm gonna be up front. And I was disappointed as hell when I was watching that game. Here it is, LeBron. Here it is. You've been off since April. First time in I don't know how long that LeBron has been off for that period of time. I know you in your 17th season. You should be feeling rejuvenated somewhat. Okay, opening night in the Staples Center with the Los Angeles Clippers, with Kawhi Leonard staring right at you, and you deferring the whole game, particularly in the second half.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't understand. I don't want to hear anything about trying to get other people going. What do you mean? You got the Los Angeles Clippers trying to make an assault on our city, on Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And you sitting here passing the ball and deferring to other people. You're LeBron James. All right? You don't defer to anyone.
Not just that, Damien. Not just that. Do you know what the people out here in L.A. are trying to tell me? And Keyshawn Johnson, your former contemporary, your colleague here at ESPN